Hello guys, it's your host for the Best Review Show. Let's fire up this review. Today's review is of episode 5 of Gamers. Now, it starts off where episode 3 had left off, where we seen at the end of episode 3 with Amano and Agari, Urahara's girlfriend, seeing Urahara and Chiaki walking closely home together. And while this is going on, they're freaking out, and it goes to Urahara and Chiaki, and basically Urahara finds out that Chiaki is working on a game but doesn't know where to go with it, and he asked her, why don't you ask someone who knows a lot about game stuff? Maybe you can get ideas from them. And she does act like she hates Amano. She just it's just one of those things. She does not actually hate him. It's just it's a pride as gamers. It's just pride. You disagree with something, you constantly bicker at one another just to rile each other up. But still, overall, it's just kind of how it goes. And when he asks her a little bit more about Amano, she just goes like, "Well, I wish he was born in another world, and I really don't care." And and Urahara thinks to himself like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure Amano would like that kind of too." And she's like, "Oh, I got a message," but it's just an excuse because Urahara knows that Amano uses that same excuse, and he finds out that Chiaki plays the exact same game Amano plays. And his response is pretty much the same what he would respond to Amano, saying, "You're a loner. There's no one that would that you know that would message you." And he says something like, "You and Amano are alike or simple-minded." But then something catches his eye. He looks at her nickname and he remembers something. Her nickname is Mono or Mono. And then it hits him. Just before this happened, he had a conversation with Amano, and Amano's nickname is Suchi. And Amano says that he's got a friend that he always plays plays this game with and teams up with her, and her name is Mono or Mono. But while he's looking at this and he's figuring it out, he realizes he's standing too close to Chiaki and making her nervous. And to avoid, which is already too late, of a misunderstanding, he backs off. And then he asks her how long she's known Suchi, and she says, "Oh, for a while," and that Suchi's always been her friend, and ever since she's been playing this game basically, and everything that was repeated that she said was a repeat of what Amano had said in episode 3. Now with the ship, with the Amor shipping and all that, um, it's mainly with what you just think of Amano, just Amano, Tendo, and Chiaki. That's it. You don't put Agari in there. I know there's some who would like to have Agari, but in my own opinion, take it with a grain of salt. Agari treats Amano like an older or a little brother. She treats him like a brother, not a love interest. That's how she treats him, and You could say he kind of acts that way too, but or he kind of treats her as a sister, kind of like a friend in some sort of way. So even though he's like, people are misunderstanding what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help them. I'm trying to fix something that obviously is broken, but yet people are misunderstanding what I'm doing. Even I'm starting to misunderstand. But it it's just really funny because in that little bit of a moment, he like going back to that, like Urahara goes like, how says to her like, how star-crossed can you get? And Agari faints in the diner with Amano. She faints. Urahara asks Chiaki what she really thinks of him, of Amano, and with a straight face, she says, "I hate him more than idols that end up in your favorite drama only because the agency demanded it." But after hearing Urahara, after hearing this, Urahara was like, "Why? That doesn't make any sense. That's just not a reason. That's not a reason why you don't like him." Excuse me. And it's just they just kind of go back and forth because he tries to make sure that she doesn't like Amano in a dere way or a tsundere way or anything, and she's like, not one bit. If they were on a deserted island with just her and Amano, like, she would bite off her own tongue. And you find out that um her nickname Mono or Mono comes from her mother's maiden name, Mononobe. And then you learn eventually that she's a game developer, so she goes by the name Nobe sometimes too while online, but that's her as Nobe, as the creator of the games. That's the name that she goes by. And she thought if she talks to Urahara, she could probably come up with ideas for her game, because she has, like I said before, she has no idea on which direction she wants to go. And while she is rambling on, Urahara is trying to figure out how to get Amano and Chiaki in the same room all together. And then he thought about it this way. What he knows that Tendo is kind of stalking Amano, has his crush on Amano. Maybe he can get Tendo into there too. Even though it's mainly set up to be with Amano and Chiaki together because they're alike, but their philosophies about the games that they enjoy playing are completely different, which is, like I said, is why they have this pride of gamers, is why they have their own different opinions, and that they like to argue about them, which is also very entertaining. And he says that he wants to root for Tendo because obviously she's in love with Amano, but then he wants to root for Chiaki because he sees. Wish I had all this memorized. I wouldn't have to look through. Wouldn't have to look through my notes, huh? He sees a couple kids with some DSs, and they're playing with each other, talking, and all this and that. And he comes up with the perfect solution, which ends up with him laughing evilly in front of pretty much everybody, and Chiaki thinks he's gone completely mental. Later on, you find out he comes after getting Chiaki and Amano together. He has come up with the idea to start a club called the Gamers Meetup. And after explaining it to these two, they were just one thing was wrong, they said to him. And pointing at each other, they said that we seriously don't need this guy slash this girl and in the club. And basically, this is just to get these two, Amano and Chiaki, on the same page where they could just, somewhat get along and become friends and discuss and debate games together. And Urahara obviously set this up so he can invite Tendo. Tendo's already got her own club, but she's one heck of a gamer. So he invited Tendo just so she can also get close to Amano. And Urahara planned this because he also sees this as a bit of his own entertainment because he wants to pick on these three in his own way. In his own way. Not to be rude or anything, to be a bully or anything, but just for a sake of entertainment. But yet, he hasn't come to the realization how jealous Agari is, and Tendo gets misunderstood about Amano and Giaki's relationship, and whether they met, and they wondering if they made this club for themselves, and Urahara calls them idiots, and like she's upset now. Tendo's upset now because, like I said, she isn't. Let's see if I. Yeah, she actually asks Amano. It's like I'm going back through my notes here. Um, I should have all this memorized. I'm sorry. Um, when I said that Urahara calls them idiots because Tendo asks Amano and Shaki if they made this club up for themselves, and they didn't actually make it. Urahara is the one that made it. He's the one who came up with the idea. He's the one who set it all up. And now Tendo is now upset. She thinks she isn't needed for the gamers meetup. And now Urahara is like, oh no, my plan's not going to work. So he tells Tendo that his idea was to get Amano alone or in a room with two hot chicks so he can watch his behavior with Agri. So he quickly grabs Tendo and sits her a seat, sits her down, so she can decide later she wants to join. Amano pokes fun at Chiaki after finding out that she makes games. Like he doesn't yet. Like he, it's kind of pointed out like Amano does not know who Chiaki is. He does not know that she is Mono or Mono, and he does not know that she is Nobe, the very game creator that he fascinates about and follows and plays the games. Plays the games, and it's like yeah, it's like it's a constant like poke fun, like make fun of the whole thing, and it he's like yeah, good point, a good point. Fanboys over her games. And here's the thing that I wrote down with my own thoughts. Like I want to know, and this is one of the things I might end up bringing up a lot throughout this entire 12 episode review of this anime. That what I want to know is why no one comes out with the truth. They know it's a misunderstanding, but they're not coming out with the truth. And you think for a second that Amano is the main one that's causing all this misunderstandings. but you eventually find out it's Urahara making up these misunderstandings and causing them. Because if he would have told Amano that, hey, she's your friend Mono from your game that you always play with, and she's also Nobe, the game creator that you fanboy over. But he's keeping all of this a secret. And he tells Tendo that they're always like this way, they're always bickering at each other. And Chiaki, it goes to a point where Chiaki says like she's talks about making like she's making games and she does not know what to do with her games. And if she does whatever she wants or likes, seem to be unpopular. So whatever she wants to do and likes to do, nobody else likes it. No one like basically gives it a chance. No one takes a look at anything and watches or plays the game. Just like anyone who watches these videos, no one really gives these videos a chance whether they're really good or not. Same thing on my other channels. Ha ha ha! Joke. And she says her games become popular when she plays it safe. Now, playing safe doesn't always, pan out. Sometimes, like, playing it safe might be a good thing for a while, but eventually it gets really old to where you just don't want to play it safe anymore. You want to be able to take a risk or two, or take some risks in order to make something happen, and she minds the other people's opinions. So she takes other people's feedback very personally, and she admits that it's no fun this way, which it isn't. Playing it safe is not isn't really a fun way to go. I mean, you want to do things your own way instead of playing it safe and then getting popular just because you're playing it safe because you're doing what exactly everyone wants. That's not why you should become a writer or a YouTuber or anything like that. You got to be able to take some risks. And Amano says he doesn't expect anything from the developer of any game. And he starts out saying that, which causes, because this is like a bit of a like intelligence, because something you just least expect from a character like Amano, and it surprises Tendo and Urahara, but like I said, it upsets Chiaki, and she's not angry at him, but he follows up with just make what you want, whether or not your game become is it's about to become popular. It's still your work either way. You can do whatever you want and end up with a masterpiece, or glue together cliches, ridiculous fun, and how superficial you are. And it's like how superficial you are, Amano. He ends up talking about the one developer he loves or respects, obviously Chiaki as Nobe, but that's not really pointed out because because if that was pointed out, Chiaki probably would have fell for Amano right then and there. And that's my own opinion, that she would have like, I do have one fan. It's like, oh, it's like he does. Like she would have a complete different opinion about Amano right then and there. But that doesn't happen until later. And Tendo pipes in and she says, well, I agree with that. And it's just the kind of person that you are. In the background, you see Agri, Urahara's girlfriend, hiding in the background, watching. Watching with disgust, jealousy, Even after saying all of that, he goes from nice to being a jerk, and this is going back to Amano now. Because you can't say something nice without being a bit of a jerk in the end. Because I said like he goes from nice to downright mean, and says he honestly doesn't care about the flops that Chiaki makes, and like I said, he does not realize that she is Nobe, the very game developer that he likes and supports, just to fight with her again. He just does it just to start an argument with her again. And it goes with Tendo because it's going to happen a lot, because with Tendo, she would automatically misunderstand, because she's almost like Juvia from Fairy Tail. Obviously, almost immediately misunderstands the situation and either takes this girl as a rival or immediately breaks down. And she's like, I knew it. These two are dating. But then Urahara comes in and reveals the truth to her, why Amano and Chiaki started hanging out. It was all because of her. She's the reason. He tells her Amano wanted to learn how to talk to her and be able to. Which is kind of stupid, because he's had plenty of conversations, good conversations with her. But even before this point. So why go through all of this? I guess to level up, and it's why he started to hang out with a fellow gamer like Chiaki. It's basically the exact same as him, even though their philosophies are different, because they have so much in common. And in the midst of Amano and Chiaki's argument, while they're bickering at each other, they stop and take a look at Tendo and Urahara when Tendo finally understands what's going on. And it's like, oh, glitter, all these, it's like, oh, this beautiful moment. And they begin imagining that in this tender moment between Urahara and Tendo, that there's something going on between these two, especially Amano. And you think about it, like, Amano said that he did have a crush on Tendo, so maybe he still has those feelings. So that's probably why he's imagining this more than Chiaki is. And then he notices Agari, and Agari calls him over. And then Chiaki sees what's going on, and Chiaki believes that Amano and Agari are dating. And seeing this, Uraha and Tendo get upset, and Chiaki leaves for the bus. Tendo and Urahara, seeing this, both run out of the classroom, and like they both find out, like just before this, they both find out from Chiaki that Amano had chased after Agari the day before all three of them, like all of them met, like they all of them together, and they're completely misunderstanding what's going on, and they both have shocked expressions on their faces, and they both run out, each one of them going one way, the other one goes the other, like, I don't think this club is fit for me, sorry, I'm gonna go, I'm not interested, blah, bye. They go cry. uh that's a sarcastic joke. It was like, well, they wouldn't want to quit the club. Well, one of them wasn't really in chosen to be in there. They just she hasn't really chosen to be in the club, and that's Tendo. But Amano and Ugly go right back to the restaurant, the Gardenia restaurant where they were before, and Ugly was making or being upset to the point like complaining aloud and getting all upset, and to the point a waitress had to come over, and she's now pinching Amano, like waitress comes over like, hey, you need to calm it down, tone it down, tone it down a little bit, tone it down. And this review is getting a lot longer. Oh well. And and she's like pinching Amano's ears and asking what's going on on Chiaki, now Tendo. Is Urahara cheating? And the misunderstanding, things are getting worse. Customers were watching them and pointing finger at Amano, like Amano's the problem. Aguri admits that she fell for Urahara, wasn't really interested in her, but she loves him anyway. Because that at the point, because it goes to that story that Urahara at the point really wasn't really interested in her, but went out with her anyway and agreed to her confession. But then later on, we seen in one of the episodes that he ends up running away from her, and that ends up in episode 2 in the review before. And Amano learns that you don't do love. Love just happens. Like you fall into it, like it just happens. And Amano promises to do everything in his power to help her get Urahara back and try and make things up. And they like in this moment too, they realize Chiaki is now standing outside, and so it's like, Chiaki's gonna misunderstand, so I'm gonna hurry up and go out there. So Amano goes out and talks to her, and basically what he said, he complimented Agri and that how cute she is, that she's a cute girlfriend, that she's Urahara's girlfriend, and it put a smile on Agri's face, like thank you, blah blah blah. And it's like Chiaki really didn't get all of it, like she didn't understand. She goes, well, good for you, blah, get out of my face. I don't like you. Go away. So he he calls her a sore loser, and Agri was happy that Amano was nice enough to do that for her. So in return, she would do what it takes so he could talk to Tendo properly, even if it means turning her boyfriend down to hang. And crossing arms, they vow to do the best that they could do with the same waitress about to smack the both of them with their tray, really annoyed. And it goes to Urahara in the arcade. Urahara is playing a fighting game, which is a version, like I would say, Persona 4. And he's mumbling to himself, thinking of Agari's and Amano's relationship, like what's going on. Is he losing his girlfriend? Is Amano trying to steal her away from him? But he's not actually playing the game. He's hitting the buttons, and people are coming in and are a little frightened about what they're seeing. And but he's like overreacting, and let's see, did I end up going? Mono is now home. He has a bad dream about confessing to Tendo, and this is gonna be one long review. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but Tendo declined his confession, and that she only wants to stay friends. And he wakes up from his dream and realizes that he uh, fell asleep playing Golden Memories. He he got the bad ending, which means his character died. And he tells um let's see. Well, I still have pages to go yet. And it goes to him saying that everything works with all the other herons or heroines. Ah, herons, other female characters in the game, but wonders why every time when it goes to ones that resemble Tendo that he always mess ups on. And and he's telling all of this to Urahara, and Urahara is gives him advice about dating and dating simulators. And Urahara tells him, says like, my advice for an otaku like you. Amada quickly goes, I don't want it. I don't want your advice now. Nope. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. La 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 la. Not listening. And he goes, dating simulators don't help or count as dating advice in real life situations. Since it's a simulation, it gives you an idea of what could happen or which route it could go. But is it a real life situation? No, because in real life, dating's a bitch. And Amano's reaction is like, no! And he just tells, like, finish the game and just figure it out on your own. And just figure out how to beat it on your own. And he's like, dude, we've been going on for this long now. You've basically went on a date or hung out with Tendo and had a game competition, competed against each other. You lost, and you had plenty of conversations with Tendo. Why don't you think it's about time you made a move on her? And he thinks he's a tick to her, like he's less than a tick to her, to Tendo, and that he's going through this training so he can talk to girls properly, meaning Tendo, and he also has, I pointed out here that he also has normal conversations with Chiaki and Agari. So obviously, he should be ready to talk to Tendo. And bring up the game, the coin or medal challenge between the two. And Amano just, oh, we're just competing. We're just blah. We're not hanging out or anything. We're just game. And he's like, he goes, I'm going to talk. He's like, straight up, forget about competing. You and Tendo were hanging out. You guys were having a conversation and having fun. Basically, you can already count that scenario as him and Tendo as friends. Amano himself does not think so. Still lacks a bit of confidence. But that's this character, and it's fine. He grows in confidence towards the end a little at a time. Because this anime, it has great character growth. Even if it's just a little bit at a time, it's not like, boom, this girl, from, oh, just one episode, all of a sudden this amount of growth. No, it's piece by piece throughout each episode to all the way to the end. And I'm ending it quickly. I'm trying to speed up this. And he thought that she was just being nice to him. Which I can understand that. I'm sure everybody else could either. And he thinks that she's interested in Urahara, which isn't true. And if he wasn't spending all that time picking a fight with Chiaki, he'd probably realize that. And pointing out this, Urahara, as his friend, points out again that he isn't the exact same person from the very first episode who turned down Tendo's invitation, meaning that he has leveled up. He tells them again that they're friends, and Amano gets excited, and another misunderstanding happens with Amano's like clasping hands with Urahara, and you don't see guys do this often, so it's really weird. And Chiaki catches them and immediately immediately misunderstands, and like, oh no, Urahara realizes her misunderstanding and immediately chases after her, and which is kind of like the quick ending to the game meetup because it wasn't even started at that during that day. Basically, you can expect a day or two to be portrayed in these episodes, and I think they do it pretty good. Um, Amano is actually clueless, but either he's trying to call them or he's talking to somebody because he pulls out his phone. He's like, hello, or like he's going to call someone. Um, I actually liked this episode. I thought it was very entertaining. And I know this video is like almost 40 minutes long. Um, there's just I want to be straight up with you guys with with these reviews. There's a lot going on in these episodes, so I'm trying to catch everything. And I know that seems like, oh, this guy's boring. He's trying to cover every single thing. It's why I like this. I like this anime. It's why I like it because there is so much going on. There's so much detail. I don't care about the visual novel part because anyone who reads the visual novel, well, you're an idiot. I'm visual novel part, like saying that I'm wrong about, or people are wrong about the manga and the anime itself. The visual novel isn't to me itself. The visual novels, to me, don't play out as actual truth. I go by the manga itself, and then I go by its counterpart, which is the anime. The anime is based off of the actual truth of the manga. Now, it does not mean that, I'll save that for later, in the later episodes. But episode 5 gets an 8 out of 10. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'm sorry this took so long. I'll try to memorize majority of this so I don't have to fumble through my notes. Um, that's all I have for you guys today. For right now, it's time to cool down and look forward for the next review. Peace.